Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the TB&J podcast. Across from me is my co-host, Troy Brittingham.
What do you want me to say? Like, hello there? Like, what's
hello
the
there?
bit? Yeah,
That was a pretty good one.
I'll take it.
What's
what's
your best shot? Give it to me.
Hello there.
So D is absent and Chris is absent, so it's just you and me, Troy.
Yeah, turns out they fucking hate Star Wars.
Yeah, who'd have thought they fucking hate Star Wars?
Yeah.
No, peek behind the curtain. Chris moved to the other side of the country, so he's busy getting set up and whatever. And D is a very busy man with a very hectic life and a family, so, you know, can't make time for childish things like this professional audio show we throw together. No, you're crying. I'm also getting over some weird allergies I've developed as an adult, so, you know, if I sound like shit, I'm sorry. It's just my throat trying to kill me. It's not COVID, I swear. I've taken like 6 tests. It's definitely not COVID. It's just allergies.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So you wouldn't mind taking a test right now on podcast, right?
I mean, I've got one under my sink left over from the 6 that I've purchased. So...
We don't gotta do that. I just
yeah.
just want to put you on the spot.
Please, I hate those fucking nasal swabs. Oh, this is gonna sound great. So let's roll with the theme song, and then we'll discuss Obi-Wan Kenobi. TB&J! TB&J!
Star Wars.
Star Wars! We're talking about a Star War, and not just a Star War, but probably the most anticipated Star War since The Mandalorian was announced, would you say?
Probably. Mando Season 2 is pretty big, but it's all still Mandalorian. So
right.
Yeah. I think Boba Fett was pretty much to hold people over.
Yeah, I don't remember too many people being excited for Boba Fett, at least not in the way that they are excited for Obi-Wan Kenobi.
You got like Ahsoka, but Ahsoka's mostly like people who have actually watched that stuff.
Right, and Ahsoka's not out yet.
Yeah.
Is the big thing. Well, when she was revealed, that was still Mandalorian content.
And then there's Andor. I don't know. I think that this is sort of the placeholder for Andor. What do you think?
Fuck Andor. I watched the trailer, and it looks so boring. Oh, my God.
I thought it looked okay.
No. It looks so boring. There's not a single fucking thing in that trailer I cared about. Like, oh, my God. Like, I
like the cool police lats.
We've talked about it before. If you guys liked Rogue One, I'm happy for you, because more good Star Wars content is great. But, like, it was not good. It was absolutely garbage. In a movie where you're trying to kill off the characters at the end, which is what they're going for, like something like Halo Reach where everybody dies at the end, or Saving Private Ryan where you lose guys along the way, you have to make me like those people before you kill them. Otherwise, I don't care. And none of those characters was likable. None of them had any depth. None of them gave a shit about anything except K2SO, which was a fucking robot. That was the only death I gave a shit about. That's like, because he was funny, and he was Alan Tudyk.
Donnie Yen and Baze Malbus, Sherut Imwe?
Sherut Imre was fucking stupid.
I like Sherut.
No. He was fucking stupid. He believes in the Force, so all the fucking shots miss him until they suddenly don't. And oh my God.
All right, not a Rogue One podcast. I didn't mean to set this off.
You did.
I didn't mean to set this time bomb.
Rebel. Shut the fuck up. No, you don't. You've not done a single fucking rebellious thing this whole fucking time. Anyway. Not the point. The point is Obi-Wan Kenobi, which I am happy with. Troy, thumbs up, thumbs down.
I am thumbs up.
Oh?
And I think a little bit less than you are.
I'm super fucking stoked about Obi-Wan. Are you kidding me?
I am not kidding you. I'm not.
2 thumbs way, way up.
Okay.
To quote the Hercules movie. Fucking, this movie is amazing. And it...
Serious?
What?
You said movie.
Oh, series. Thank you. And I will say the first thing right off the bat is the seemingly tone-deaf open of the very first episode. where the younglings get slaughtered during Order 66,
Mm-hmm.
which came right on the heels of the elementary
I didn't
school
think about
shooting
that.
in Texas. No, I didn't either, because obviously this show has been finished for a long time,
Right.
and that scene was written and filmed ages ago. There's no way in hell they could have predicted this, unless you live in America where we've had almost 300 mass shootings.
Well, you could
and-
argue that maybe it would be harder to predict if, something happened ever. Once, and,
if we ever bothered to care about mass shootings.
Mm.
Anyway, not the point. No, Deborah Chow had no fucking way of knowing this was going to happen. Obviously, this scene was done ages ago. It seems like it came off a little tone deaf to some people. I didn't see that at all, especially since no children directly got killed that I saw. Like, obviously...
Yeah, I think that they basically went around all that. Everybody else died.
Yeah, the Jedi got killed, but, like, the younglings were fine, as far as I know.
Which
like,
I'm assuming...
Obviously, the camera, like, pans up and away, and so it's like, yeah, the younglings die, we know that, but they didn't show any kids getting killed.
Well, I'm wondering if they're planning on using any of the... Like, using this as a jumping point to be, like, more kids in the future kind of thing. Like, different Jedi in different stories kind of thing. Because they did also show... They showed a bunch of trailers because Star Wars Celebration also just wrapped up.
Yes.
And one of them
including
was...
the new Fallen Order game.
Fallen Order, which is Jedi Survivor.
So excited.
They apparently teased a bunch of Ahsoka stuff that isn't out yet, that may or may not have a bunch of Rebels characters.
You're pretty happy about that,
I
aren't
am
you?
very happy about that. I fucking love Rebels. I arguably like the second half of Rebels more than I like most of Clone Wars.
Really?
Yeah, and it's a thing where like I feel like a lot of people don't watch all the way because like the first two are like okay, and then like the end of 2, it's like oh shit, the show's actually really good. And like I understand the whole thing of like oh I don't want to watch 40 episodes of a thing for it to get good, but I liked it from the beginning and then it just got really good.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say was they showed a trailer for Bad Batch Season 2.
Yes.
And in that
There's
was
a Wookiee Jedi.
who was in an episode or 2 of Clone Wars.
Nice.
So it's like a thing of like and like throwaway episodes. So I'm wondering
Stuff
if they're
that's borderline not canon.
it's canon,
Well,
but
Clone
it doesn't.
Clone Wars is canon,
Yeah,
right?
Clone Wars is very canon. Yeah.
Yeah, but it seemed like it was more of a disposable joke rather than a this is a character thing.
Not
now
even a
it's-
joke. It's like a whole episode about like this is what it's. There's like a whole arc about like 4 or 5 Jedi younglings that like go off and like learn how to make lightsabers and stuff. And it's like that whole sort of thing.
Okay.
Like
Neat.
and like it's like a cool sort of like 4 or 5 episodes where they like kind of just bring them in and throw them away. And like they show up in like the background of scenes.
Yeah.
But I was unusually hyped to see that character show up again. I don't even know the character's name, but I was just like, oh, cool. Like they're not just like disposing of characters that like are kind of cool. But this
Gunji.
Gunji that yeah, and he's got the wooden lightsaber.
Yep.
But they
He looks pretty cool.
and
Oh man, that does look pretty cool. I'm excited.
yeah, watch Clone Wars, everybody.
Yeah, go watch Clone Wars.
But yeah, with all the Star Wars Celebration stuff, Kenobi comes out in the middle of that, and I'm wondering if they're gonna use the kids at the beginning as a jumping off point to go do something else eventually, where they can just be like, oh, like you watch Kenobi later and you're like, oh shit, that's the kid.
Oh yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and I know that I think it was a book recently that came out where somebody mentioned somebody in the book. A character mentions talking to Jaro Tapal and his red-haired Padawan. So I was like, oh yay, Cal's in there. So like Cal's super canon, and I'm super excited about that. Which means all the fucking shit that happened with what's her name, Trilla, the second sister.
Yep.
That's all canon. The Darth Vader encounter is canon, where he got stuck underwater and somehow escaped. Dude, that whole fucking game was badass. But we're not talking about Jedi Fallen Order, Troy. We're talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi on Disney Plus. 6 episodes long. First 2 already dropped, and it blew me away.
Okay.
It was everything I wanted it to be so far, and I can kind of see why they've done a couple script rewrites, because this one's pretty fucking dark.
Oh yeah.
And
To the point where I'm wondering if they put in like the kid Leia stuff as like an afterthought, like they weren't going to do that, and they're like, we need some kid adventure stuff.
We need something to bring some levity.
We need there to be a child to have fun.
We need some levity, or we are fucked. We're just gonna have like the most depressing Star Wars property ever. But like, it has to be a depressing Star Wars property because we know. Based on like fucking episode 4, we know that Ben's story arc ends on a down note until like Luke becomes of age and they run off to fucking the Death Star. So like nothing here is gonna go super well for him.
The best thing that ever happened to him was when his aunt and uncle burned up.
I mean, yeah, but what a weird way to frame it.
I mean, he also then died like the next day. So I mean, I don't know if it's the best, but you know, you get what I mean. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally. But yeah, so Obi-Wan opens with the younglings getting massacred, and then we cut to Obi-Wan, who's just in hiding on Tatooine. He works as some meat plant factory worker, and one thing that kind of rubs me a little bit the wrong way is they show him like cutting a hunk of a piece of meat off and then wrapping it up and putting it in his apron to give to his like camel thing, and I'm like, does no one see that or stop him?
Well, that's what I was asking. Is he stealing it, or is he just like? Are they just like, yeah, you can have a little bit at the end of the day?
Yeah, you can have just a little bit. You can have a little bit. That's fine. But and then they brought back that thing from Jakku with the portions. That's how they get paid. The workers get paid in portions. And Obi-Wan is like on his way to clock out, and the guy in front of him is like, "This is less of a portion than last time." And the guy in charge is like, "You should be grateful. You got what you got." Blah. And he looks at Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan's looking at him, and he's like, "What do you want?" And he's just like, "Nothing. I'm sorry. Clock out. Leave. Bye."
And that's actually Uncarplet Senior.
Wait, really?
No.
Oh God.
Not even the same species.
Oh, okay. You're right. I don't know why I believed you for a second. Jesus Christ, I'm stupid. And then he goes back home to his little cave, and he's got some weird like R2-D2 looking thing. It literally is like the camera that pops up.
Yeah. It's like a little warning thing that like tells him like all clear or somebody's in there.
Yeah, because when the Jawa is in his house, it's red. The Jawa shows up, and they have a little fun banter. Like, if you're gonna steal my stuff and sell it back to me, can you at least clean it?
Jeff, I have to ask. Did this Jawa do anything for you? You're usually very anti-Jawa. You run some anti-Jawa propaganda on this channel, on this podcast.
I don't agree with Jawas, like, just existing. Excuse me. But this Jawa, like, he was a good Jawa as far as, like, the fulfilling what those characters are, which is just they're slimy little thieves, and that's all they do. They're just trying to turn a buck. Like, they suck as characters, but, like, I like them when they're on screen.
I like them. I like them as little goblin men that steal your shit.
Exactly. They're good little nuisance characters. They're not an actual bad guy, but... Yeah, so he's like, oh, I need a part. My poor vaporizer is missing a piece. The Jaw's like, oh, just so happens I have one. And Obi-Wan's like, and he gets...
I was on board completely during all of this. There's something about, like... It's like a weird mix of like it's not too like jokey and everything that like it's like enough of it being like, yeah, this is sad. He's like in this shitty cave, but like they're still like having a joke about it. It's not like a tension breaking joke,
right? But then he buys the ship that Luke Skywalker had in Episode 4, or at least a similar one. And it's like, oh, he's going to give that to Luke. It's going to be a little present. And then he spies on Owen and Beru. And you got little kid Luke in the scene from the trailer where he's sitting on the top of the hut pretending he's flying a starfighter or whatever. Which begs the question, like, how does he know about the existence of starfighters?
Well, I mean, Mos Eisley's just right around the corner. Like,
I guess.
I'm assuming he's not, like, only ever been on the farm. And also,
he's not
like,
that isolated, I guess.
There's also, like... in a bunch of the shows and stuff like that, like they have like Hollow News and stuff like that, where there's like a TV station kind of thing.
Fair enough. Owen and Beru might have a TV in the basement. Who knows? But then Ben,
it's just an old tube TV from the 70s,
an old CRT.
Yeah.
But then Ben is just going about his life, and it's a real depressing fucking existence, right? And then there's this scene in the cantina. Where a cantina, not the cantina, 3 Inquisitors show up. It's the 5th brother, help me out here.
Grand Inquisitor.
Grand Inquisitor, which is the white dude.
Yep. And then there is Reva, who is the new one, who is third sister.
Okay, she's the third sister.
So you got 1, 3, and 5. You skipped all the odds, all the evens that day.
Well, second sister is
Trilla.
Is Trilla.
And then I think
fourth
is fourth the big one from Fallen Order?
I think that's sixth.
Okay. No, fourth brother I think is in Rebels in like an episode or two.
Okay. My question was going to be, is there actually like a list of the 1 through whoever?
Well, yeah, so Grand Inquisitor's 1, and he was in Rebels. Most of them are in Rebels. Fifth brother's also in Rebels. The one woman that they're also walking around with, the alien woman, she's seventh sister, I think, who is also from Rebels.
Okay.
Because first season is Grand Inquisitor, second one is fifth brother and seventh sister, and they are sort of the season 2 bad guys.
Okay. Let me... all 11 Inquisitors. I'm not disabling ad block. Shut up. Grand Inquisitor, Reva the third sister, fifth brother, seventh sister is from Rebels, you're right. Eighth brother, sixth brother.
There's a few more thrown in there, whether they're like
brother.
books. No, eighth brother's the one that they find in Rebels.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the season finale of season 2 of Rebels is there's like 3 Inquisitors.
Okay, yeah.
And then Vader shows up.
Yeah.
And also Maul's there.
That's a lot of bad guys.
It's season 2 of fucking Rebels. If you can get to it, watch Rebels.
It sounds amazing. The Inquisitors show up, they're looking for a Jedi, and everyone's like, oh, it's Obi-Wan, right? But no, it's actually this other little guy who's running away, and he ends up crossing paths with Obi-Wan, and he's just like, I need your help. And he's just like, you have me confused for somebody else. Please leave. And he's like, no, you're Obi-Wan Kenobi. Please fucking help me. I'm a Jedi on the run. And Obi-Wan's like, listen, motherfucker, we lost. It's over. Go hide. It's done. Go away.
I am interested in... I'm fascinated by their restraint to be like, yeah, he just went to Tatooine and he picked the name Ben. Mm-hmm. Like, they haven't done anything yet where they're like, he's not Obi-Wan right now. He is Ben.
Yeah.
And especially after, like, Solo and shit like that, I'm surprised that they didn't do, like, a thing of just, like, there's a character that's important who's named Ben who dies and then he takes the name or whatever.
I'm so glad they didn't do some shitty thing like that.
I'm 50-50 on it. I think I'm more happy that I'm not, but it is a weird thing where I'm like, that's the one where I'm like, I could, like, know just, like, his thought process, even if it's just, like, a little thing. But, like, Solo, I didn't need know his last name was Solo.
I know. But, like, I that was a cool little thing the first, like, once or twice I saw it.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's an overplayed trope now.
100%.
And I don't want to see it again. I'm very glad they didn't do something like that.
Yeah, that's my whole mindset is if it wasn't already a thing that happens too much, I would be interested in seeing it with only him.
Right. But, so Ben basically is just like, listen, dude, we lost. It's over. Go the fuck home. Get out of here. And he continues his miserable existence on Tatooine. There's a scene where Owen confronts him, and he's like, listen, motherfucker, don't give my kid toys. He's not going to turn out anything like Anakin. I'm sorry you failed, but leave him alone, all right? Stay out of our lives. And after this kind of angry exchange, he's walking away, and the Inquisitors show up looking for Kenobi because it's revealed that Reva, who is the third sister, is super obsessed with Kenobi. She's got to find him. She's got to bring him in. It's like her whole mission in life.
Yeah, she's like apparently sort of the runt of the Inquisitors, who's just sort of like, they're like, yeah, you are the worst Inquisitor, essentially. So I think she somehow knows. I'm not really sure what the dynamic is with Darth Vader and the Empire, if people know or not, but she knows, and I think that she's leveraging that to just be like, yeah, I take in this guy, suddenly I'm the best Inquisitor.
I feel like it's not a secret so much as it's just like nobody bothers to ask, kind of a thing. And if you're that high up in like the Empire / Sith, you know.
Also, if you're Tony, the stormtrooper from Dantooine, you're just like, I don't fucking know who Anakin Skywalker is, man.
Stormtroopers all have assignment names like TK421 or FN2821. Wait,
you got it. I believe in you.
2117? No. What is it? Help me out here. What's Finn's number?
I don't know.
FN.
I was hoping for 218.
No. Fuck. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't care. This is bad pod. So, the Inquisitor has Ben, like, or not Ben, excuse me, Owen, like, by the balls, and she's like, listen, you're gonna tell me where Kenobi is. You're gonna tell me something. I know you know something, or I'm just gonna murder your entire family. But she does it in a way that's, like, super fucking dark, man. Like, she's just, the way she delivers these lines, I got chills. I was like, holy fucking shit. Owen might turn on Ben, but he doesn't. The man's got balls of steel. He doesn't turn on Ben, not even once. And I was like, good on you, Owen. You're not a complete piece of shit. I like you again. You're okay. So that was really fucking badass. And I don't remember if it's before this or after this, but Obi-Wan is walking through this little town square, and the Jedi who asked him for help earlier is literally hanging from an archway.
It's a little bit after that, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, he's hanging from an archway, just like from a noose.
Yeah, because that,
like, yep, we got him.
That's the one that they actually are looking for, and like they find him, and that's when they leave Tatooine, because eventually he's gonna have to hang out on Tatooine, and if they know he's there, why would anything happen in New Hope?
Yeah, and that's when we cut to the Organas over on Alderaan. And at first, I enjoyed Alderaan a lot, but at the same time, it's like, we get it. It's a utopia. The Empire sucks for blowing it up. We get it. You don't need flying cars and shimmering streets and gorgeous weather all the time. But they do have Jimmy Smits back as Bail Organa. I was very happy to see Jimmy Smits.
How'd you feel about Weird Kid Leia?
I like her. She's fine. Why?
No,
I
was
internet
just
not like her.
No, I was just wondering. I was just trying to throw out pie questions.
Leia is great as Kid Leia is amazing, and she is wicked fucking smart for a 10-year-old, which goes very well with what we know of Leia from 4, 5, and 6. There's, but my complaint with Leia isn't her. It's what they do around her. So like Leia's doing her thing. She's being a snotty little senator's kid, and Bail's just like, you're going to be the leader one day, and these people are going to look to you, and blah, 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 blah. But also, I'm still your dad, and we get up to mischief, and I'm your favorite. Yay! And, like, they go, these mercenaries, led by Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, because apparently he's in this show, they kidnap Leia. But, like, I feel like they should have had the Benny Hill music playing underneath it.
Oh, for sure.
It was like the worst chase scene of anything. They should be like,
it's like and this show was like right after the Vespa Tatooine chase scene in Boba Fett. And I'm just like,
God.
It's just like a whole thing of just like, what is happening?
Why can't Star Wars nail a chase scene anymore? Like, they did great in Jedi with those fucking speeder chases.
I liked
Endor.
I liked the green lady who literally runs into a branch that she's like looking at for like a long time.
Right. Like, and it's like chest high. Like, you saw it. There's no way you didn't.
So this sort of begins my feelings on it, where my thumbs up was a little bit more hesitant than yours, where I think that the ideas of this show are really good. I like the tone of this show. I like pretty much all the characters so far. I know that the internet is very against Third Sister, and I think that give her some time. I think people just think that she's like annoying and abrasive, and like people very much have a problem with those characters who are like my way or the highway kind of thing. I think.
I understand that, and I feel like. I've really enjoyed characters like that from the Sith, because that feels like the kind of character Sidious wants to like cultivate, where it's like, I want you to be chaotic. I want you to go after whatever you want with reckless abandon,
right? Because
that's kind of how the Sith is, as far as my understanding is. And then you just have like Vader, who does stuff similarly, but he's a lot more cold and calculated. And I think part of that is the limitations of like the suit from the 70s and 80s, but it just became his personality of how he's a lot more cold and calculated. But the lashing out, the reckless abandon, the running, the the scheming, the doing things behind people's back. That seems very Sith-like, and that's a lot of the stuff I loved about Kylo from 7 and 8, and not so much 9, because 9 was garbage. But
he still does all that stuff, though.
He's single-handedly the best character in the entire sequels trilogy is Kylo Ren. I
like a lot of those characters, and I probably still agree with you.
Yeah, I like a lot of those characters too. I just felt like they were poorly handled. But that's not the point. I really enjoy Third Sister. I feel like she's going to be a good bad guy, especially because at the end of episode 2, when she's got Obi-Wan cornered and she knows it, the Grand Inquisitor intervenes to try to be like, no, orders are orders. And she's just like, dude, we're Sith, and he's right there. What are you doing? And he's like, no, you don't know what you're doing. And then she just fucking stabs him through the chest.
And he's totally, definitely, actually dead. For real.
Yeah?
Because he's the main villain of Rebels, which is after the show.
Oh, wait, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit, you're right.
The first season of Rebels is after this, because Old Man Kenobi is in Rebels.
Oh, shit.
And there's a bunch of people online where they're just like, oh my god, I can't believe they killed the Grand Inquisitor. Are they retconning Rebels out of canon? And I'm like, no. Ahsoka's coming out. And it's all the Rebels characters.
Yeah, they're definitely not retconning Rebels. They're just gonna not have him be dead. They fucking Anakin had his limbs
Maul
cut off and burned like mostly to death.
Darth
Maul lived. Darth Maul was cut in half and lived.
He fucking like ate rats and made robot legs.
Wait, that's how he lived?
He didn't like eat rats. I'm exaggerating, but he lived on a trash planet, essentially, that they just dumped all of his body
a trash planet or like Tatooine, like a trash planet?
No, like a trash planet.
Like what, where McKee grew up in Halo?
Yes, actually almost exactly like that.
Oh, man.
And then Mr. Krabs goes and finds him.
Go listen to our coverage of Halo on Paramount Plus. It's not as good as Obi-Wan, but it's still good. Mostly.
Depending on who you ask. I feel like all three of us have pretty differing opinions.
We have very differing opinions.
Although, I'm still more positive than Reddit.
Yeah, I'm very, like, cool, and you're, like, a lot lukewarm, and Chris is just, like, pfft. So, you know. But we're all better than the fucking Halo subreddit, for sure. The Leia subplot. You were talking about
what I was going to say was sort of my first... my one real problem with the series in general is I feel like... I like the ideas, I like the characters, I like the tone. I think that some of the way some of the ideas are shot and put into visual kind of take away from a lot of them. I'm thinking mostly of like the chase scene at the beginning of To Grab Leia. I thought that I'm not as anti-Reva parkour as the internet seems to be, but
I don't know why anyone was anti-parkour at all. That was awesome.
I thought it went on a little long.
It may have been a little long, I'll give you that, but it showed that she's a very physically capable person.
Mm-hmm.
She's not like Vader, who's fragile in a suit.
Right.
She actually can like keep up with her own. And it also goes to show like Obi-Wan is aging. I believe his age in this is accurate to Ewan McGregor's actual age, which is about 51-ish. So like,
and then 10 more years, he has to age rapidly until he's like 70 or 80.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. But like,
Tatooine does bad things to you.
Tatooine's
bad for your skin.
I mean, honestly though, living in a desert is not great. But I mean, it goes to show the dichotomy of like the good guy here who is older and frail and he's kind of on his back foot.
Yeah.
And then you have Reva coming in and she's just like in the prime of her life, full of energy, jumping, running, lightsabering, Grand Inquisitors. Like, she is a force to be fucking reckoned with. And they gave us that pretty succinctly by showing what she's physically capable of. And mentally capable of with her whole fucking scheme of kidnapping Leia to lure Kenobi out of hiding, which was fucking brilliant, honestly, because it worked. It fucking worked. And it's probably the only thing that could have worked was pulling Leia to get Kenobi out of hiding. Well,
because I think the thing that they're trying to display is because in the cantina scene you were talking about earlier, Reva tries to kill the Jedi, and Grand Inquisitor stops her, and then he runs off and escapes. And
is that what the Inquisitors do?
No, usually they just murk you. But I think what might happen now that they've, air quotes, heavy air quotes, killed the Grand Inquisitor twice. Like,
does he die in Rebels?
He dies in Rebels, yeah.
For real?
Yes.
Okay.
Until he shows up in Mandalorian season 3, he won't.
Dude, an Inquisitor in Mando.
I still think there's a character in Clone Wars, Barriss Offee, who's like a friend. She's like Ahsoka's best friend, sort of thing, and she turns to the dark side, and we've never seen anything ever since. Like, she doesn't die. And I'm like, they should just make her an Inquisitor like later on. And people are like, she, the morals that she left for, like, maybe not align. And I'm just like, they could work something out. She should be She should be in the Ahsoka show, is what I'm saying.
Absolutely, she should, and that sounds like it'd be perfect for the Ahsoka show. And as we mentioned, the Inquisitors, I just remembered that they pretty much all but confirmed that season 3's bad guy will be Thrawn, right?
That's gonna be what the Ahsoka show I think is.
Oh, am I getting things mixed up?
Yeah,
between Mando and Ahsoka.
Yeah, she's going after Thrawn, and I think he's doing Mandalore stuff.
Right, he has to become a Mandalorian again, or leave it behind.
Yeah,
he's probably gonna leave it behind. Yeah.
But I think what they're gonna try to do now is they're like, yeah, that one Jedi, they were hoping that it would flesh out Kenobi because maybe Grand Inquisitor knows something they don't. Goes to, like, maybe I'm thinking that the entire show is Grand Inquisitor's plot to flesh him out, and it's just using Rava's plot to move him forward, and is now gonna be like, shit, I'm totally fucking dead. No. And then, like, episode 6, Grand Inquisitor will be like, turns out I'm not dead.
Does
and then
he
kills
have any, like, augmentations when he shows up in Rebels?
I think he has, like, a chest plate, but he doesn't have anything that's, like, he's not, like, his whole body's meant. But I mean,
his whole body didn't get, like, fucked up too much. He just got stabbed. And, like, he got stabbed pretty succinctly. I don't bringing him back might be a little far-fetched, but I mean, they have to, unless Rebels is no longer canon.
He's literally back.
Yeah.
Also, the whole. So what the plot of Ahsoka is they're going off to go find Ezra and Thrawn, who disappear at the end of Rebels.
Oh.
Spoilers for Rebels. It's like it literally can't physically not work.
Yeah. Okay.
And Bo-Katan has stuff with Rebels. It's just a weird thing now.
Yeah. I'm glad all of these fan favorite characters are finally getting some big screen time. That's pretty nice. But anyway, Leia gets kidnapped, and Bail Organa reaches out to Obi-Wan through his Jedi communicator. It's like blinking, and Obi-Wan hears it, and he's like, "What?" And he goes digging through a chest, and there's a little lockbox, and he opens it up, and there's like
also a lot of restraint because Bail and his wife are talking, and they're like, "Help us, Obi-Wan. You're the only one who can help us." And it's like they're trying very hard not to say you're our only hope.
Yeah. That was kind of like a little throwback to Leia's message in 4 to Obi-Wan, which, I mean, I liked it. I was like, I see what you're doing.
I just thought it was very funny how hard they were trying not to make it super on the nose.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty funny. And Obi-Wan's just like, "No, I'm not the man you remember. I can't help you at all. Goodbye." And then he keeps going about his miserable life. I think this is where we get like the Ben, I keep saying Ben, the Owen stuff and the dead Jedi and the Inquisitors. And then he goes back to his cave, and there's a little warning light on the R2-D2 looking thing, and he walks in, and there's Bail Organa himself, and he's just like, "All right, I'm here. We gotta, please."
Yeah, you don't understand. Please. I'm not taking no for an answer.
I'm literally not taking no for an answer. I need you to go get Leia, pretty please. And it is actually like a little bit of a heartfelt moment between the two of them. Bail is imploring Obi-Wan as like his oldest friend, like, "Please, for the love of God, I need you to go get Leia. You have no, like, if she falls, like, we're fucked, and you know that." And he's just like, "Oh, fine." And then this part annoys me a little bit, but I can kind of understand it. Obi-Wan rides out in the middle of nowhere in the desert and digs up a box. And I'm just like, all right, you remembered very succinctly exactly where in the desert you buried those things. But I'm like, at the same time, I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, don't Jedi have like an attunement to their lightsaber? They can like sense it.
There is like a little magic because the crystal calls out to you.
There's some space wizard shit going on, so he can be like, oh, it's there.
It would have been kind of a cool scene, though, if it was just like a time lapse of him digging 1,000 holes in the desert.
There's a crossover with the movie Holes with Shia LaBeouf.
Mm-hmm. Shia shows up digging up some holes, digging them. No, but he digs up a box and he opens it up, and fucking what else is in there but his lightsaber and Anakin's. He has them buried for safekeeping. He takes his lightsaber out and he's looking at them. We don't see him remove them, but he's looking at them. And then we see him going to get on a transport. He's all covered up and he's got the hood up and he's staring at the transport. And then, like, as if on cue, some like cheesy actress is just like, "You coming, honey?" And he's just like, "Yes." And then he walks up and he moves his robe to the side to get his ticket, and there's his lightsaber on his belt. And I'm just like, ballsy move of you to flash your lightsaber when you know Inquisitors were literally just here. They're like around the corner. They're at the Walmart down the street.
So I mean, props for having the cojones to do that, Obi-Wan.
You see Fifth Brother walking out of a store with like a smoothie in his mouth. And he's just like, oh shit.
He's got a smoothie and a Subway hoagie because every fucking Walmart has a Subway in it. And he's just like, hey, wait a minute, look at that guy. Yeah, but he gets on the transport and he's flying off to find Leia, and I believe that's where episode 1 ends, and episode 2 starts with him getting to the planet, which this was a planet you played on in the Star Wars Bounty Hunter Boba Fett game.
Well, okay.
Yes, it was on the original Xbox and the PS2. It was a Star Wars Boba Fett Bounty Hunter, I think it was called, and you played a couple missions on this planet. This planet serves a similar purpose to kind of like the underground city on Coruscant in the beginning of episode 2.
It's like the whole planet, though.
Yeah, it's the whole planet. It's just like a sleazy planet. It's like they establish what it is as soon as he gets there, when he's like talking to some guy and he's like, I'm looking for a ship, and he was like, dude, any ship that comes here to get lost. Like, you won't find anything here. Nothing is here for you. Just fucking forget about it. Leave. And then he's walking around. There's some girl who like offers him some drugs, and he's like, actually, I'm looking for a girl. It's my daughter. And she's just like, I was somebody's daughter. Take a few more of these, and you'll forget all about her. And then she leaves, and I'm just like, what? That was fucking dark.
Dun, 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 dun,
Jesus Christ.
Dun, 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 dun.
I thought Star Wars was an uplifting kind of movie, but show, whatever it is. But like, Jesus Christ, this is kind of really dark. And then some other dude is like, hey, there's a Jedi here. He helps people. He can help you too. And in the back of my head, I'm like, what? And we go to see him, and it's none other than Kumail Nanjiani,
who is maybe my favorite character so far.
He's pretty fucking great. I was really expecting to hate Kumail's character, because whenever he gets put in something, I'm just like, you're here for comedic effect.
Well, he always plays that one guy. He's always that same guy. But he's so fucking good at that one guy.
He's really good at his job, and that's why he's so rich. But yeah, he plays this Jedi helper, and he goes over the intercom, and he's like, hello, and the guy's like, who is this? This is a secure channel, and he's like, I am Jedi mind tricking you.
He uses the magnets, and
yeah, he's got magnets in his hands that affect like the doors on the wall and shit to pretend to use the Force. And Obi-Wan's watching from the shadows.
Leaving your mind.
Yes. Obi-Wan's watching from the shadows as he puts on this show for this family and takes their money. And then he's like, I need some help. And he's like, I can help you for like 700 credits. And Obi-Wan's like, that's a lot. And he's like, well, you know, I'm helping. And then Obi-Wan like pulls a gun on him and takes the magnets off his hands. He's like, you're no fucking Jedi. And Camille's like, all right, you got me. I'm not a fucking Jedi. But he does end up actually, I think, pointing Obi-Wan in the right direction. Doesn't he? Yeah. He does kind of point him off in the right direction. And Obi-Wan finds Leia all trapped in her little fucking whatever. And she's very hesitant to go with him. And she's just like, who are you? And he was like, I'm a friend of your dad's. We're leaving. And she's like, why should I trust you? And he's like, would you rather stay here? And she's like, all right, fine. I guess I'm coming with you.
They do a good...
Oh, he takes out fucking Flea. And Flea's friends. Oh god, that was a good scene. I skipped over it, and I didn't mean to. They capture Obi-Wan, and that's when we realized this was all Reva's plan. And she was like, "Oh, if we capture Leia, Obi-Wan will come out of hiding." And then he throws the drug bomb thing, and it gets like all in their eyes, and he pulls out this gas mask to protect himself, and then he like ditches them in this locked room, and it was a pretty smooth move, but at the same time it was like they had time to shoot him, but I guess Reva wants him alive, so they couldn't shoot him. I don't know. It felt like you could have.
Well, he has
him.
the plot armor of being Obi-Wan and dying later.
Yeah, he has the plot armor of having to make it through this series unscathed, minus having a lot of gray hair.
They should episode 6 just shoot him and just not explain it. Kill Grand Inquisitor and Obi-Wan.
Pull
in
a
the same
Dallas,
series.
be like, who shot JR? Who shot Obi-Wan?
They should kill. They should not explain it. They should kill.
If you
off,
guys didn't understand that reference to Dallas, ask your nearest old person.
I still need to ask. I think.
It was a drama about this guy named JR. He was an oil baron in Dallas. And
Well, now you're taking it away from all the people who want to ask the old person.
Yeah, go ask your old person about Dallas. I'm not explaining Dallas.
Your designated old person that you all have. That was funded to you by the government.
For Troy, it's me. So
Yeah.
Or D. D is a little knowledgeable. I don't know if he knows Dallas though. But anyway, so Obi-Wan gets Leia, and they're leaving, and he has to tell Leia, like, I'm a Jedi, your dad sent me, I'm here to help you, and she's just like, I don't fucking trust you as far as I can throw you, who the fuck are you? And she, like, runs away from him, and he's, like, chasing her, and it's, again, with this, like, comedically bad chase, and they end up on a rooftop, and then, it's at this point, like, Reva sends out, like, an all alerts, like, Obi-Wan is here, bounty on him, and Grand Inquisitor is like, oh, Reva!
I just want to see like the Inquisitors, and it's like just like an Office series where they're just like all like shitty coworkers, and she's just like
she would absolutely be the Dwight, and
they're all trying to. I feel like.
Did you watch The Office?
Yes, I did.
Oh, did you?
It was part of my I watched Community and then The Office as part of my 2020 COVID.
I was gonna say in COVID you binged a lot of shows you missed out on. I'm glad you finally watched The Office. It's really good.
I did think that. I think I should have watched them in the opposite order because I thought Community was a little better.
It's a different setting, but it's a lot of the similar like comedy styles.
Yeah.
But it's also not trying to be a fake documentary.
Yeah.
But like the comedy writing is quite similar.
Yeah, they're different.
Yeah. They're different, but if you like one, you did probably like the other. But yeah, so they're avoiding bounty hunters now, and there's this one that straight up looks like a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Who's got like this rifle thing, and
also I do appreciate the fact that Obi-Wan is really fucking bad with a gun.
oh my god, it's my favorite thing. I love that he's so bad with a blaster. It's my favorite fucking thing because
he takes like 80 shots at the guy, and then he's like, yeah, I got him.
A guy that's not moving and isn't in cover, and Obi-Wan can't fucking shoot him, and it's so funny to me. Oh my god, because he hates blasters.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, he hates blasters, and this is great. But he's like taking cover behind this little thing on a rooftop while yelling at Leia to come back, and she's running across rooftops, and Reva is like, there he is, and they're running to get him. And then it all culminates with Leia like jumping, but she's falling, so Obi-Wan has to like reach out with the Force to stop her from falling. And that's when she's like, oh yeah, he is a Jedi. Maybe I'll trust him after all. Yay! And they're running away, and then Kumail stops them, and he's just like, listen, everything's locked down, but there's an automated freighter that takes shipments to and from whatever. Go hide there, you'll get out. And he's like, why should I trust you? And he's just like, because what else are you going to do? Like, you're stuck here. And it's like, Jesus Christ, that's a good point, but also like, man, they really are between a rock and a hard place, and it doesn't seem like Obi-Wan has too many good options left.
My sister had a theory on Kumail, and I want to know how you feel about it. She threw out there, what if he's a con man playing a Jedi, but is actually a Jedi playing a con man playing a Jedi?
Oh.
I don't know if it works anymore after episode 2, where Reva's like, you're not a Jedi, and then reads his mind and stuff like that. But like up until that point, she was kind of for it.
Yeah. I can see that. But Reva does corner Kumail, and she's just like, you know where they are. I don't need you to tell me. I'm just going to pull it from your brain. And I'm just like, wow, that's That's a very underutilized move, I feel like, in the entire Star Wars universe.
Kylo does it a lot.
Kylo does it a lot, and he was the first one to do it. I feel like the first 6 movies could have been a little bit shorter if people had just taken things out of people's brains when they had him captive. But, whatever. Like, Leia, where is the rebel base? We don't need to blow up Alderaan. I'll just pull it from your brain. Like, that could have gone over way smoother. Alderaan wouldn't have died, but whatever. Fine, be that way. Maybe Kylo and Reva happen to be more in tune with the Force than Vader ever was.
Well, there is like a thing where if you like look at different characters throughout the series, like there are people who are better and do different things more often than other people.
Better than the Chosen One?
Well, he chokes people. That's what he does.
He's a one-trick pony.
I will always say, I always have the hot take opinion that I thought that nobody should have force choked somebody other than Vader.
That's a good. Who else got force choked?
There's like a few times where like Dooku does it in like shows and stuff like that. I don't think he does it in the movie.
I'm only thinking movie. I haven't seen a whole lot of shows.
Yeah, like Asajj does a bunch of times. Like basically everybody who's like a Sith user in the show eventually force chokes at least one person.
I mean, to be fair though, it does seem like a really easy thing to do.
Yeah,
because like good Jedi, you see them manipulating objects all the time. You're just manipulating someone's throat. You're just squeezing it shut.
I think I'm just a fan of signature moves, like it's fucking wrestling,
or like the original Battlefront games where every Force user had like exactly one Force move they could do aside from lightsaber throw.
Yeah.
But they do end up they're hiding on the freighter when Reva shows up, and it's real fucking tense. And Reva ignites her lightsaber as she's looking around for Obi-Wan.
When she's saying Obi-Wan, like real slowly, did you? And you're the wrong person to ask. Did you get a small thing in your head of just Bruce Wayne?
I did not.
Okay, that's what I thought of immediately.
I did not.
Not to make this a Matt Reeves podcast.
The Batman by Matt Reeves,
no,
part
we're not gonna,
17.
We can continue.
No, I did not get any Riddler vibes at all. But
I mean, it's a trope. It's not the only time that's ever happened. Is come out wherever you're kind of deals.
It's literally what it was. And then I'm just like, ooh, are we getting a lightsaber fight in episode 2? And Obi-Wan like pulls his lightsaber from his belt. He's ready for a fight. And I'm just like, Reva is very trained. You are very rusty. I don't feel like this will be a fair fight at all. Reva's dead. Get it? Because I'm on Obi-Wan's side? No, but like Obi-Wan would be fucked for sure. There's no way he's winning that fight at all. And then the Grand Inquisitor shows up to put a fucking staple in Reva's plans. And he's just like, actually, you need to stop. This obsession with Obi-Wan is unhealthy. He's just an old man Jedi.
I want you to go to your room, young lady.
Exactly. Pretty much he tells her, you're off the case, officer. Give me your gun and your badge.
Which, like, this is part of why I'm thinking, like, he's up to something. Because if you watch Rebels, he's, like, the most calculating dude. And he fights my favorite character from Rebels, Kanan Jarrus, at one the first time he ever appears.
Not Cad Bane?
Not Cad Bane. He's not in that show.
Oh.
Idiot.
I don't know why that tickled me so much.
I'm sorry, Jeff.
I'm not. I am an idiot. Go on.
But he fights Kanan Jarrus, and he's just like, you use Form 3. Oh, okay. He's like, oh, you're probably trained by this Jedi. Like he like knows shit. So he's like the smart guy who's like, yeah, he wouldn't just be fucking up this bad.
No, I feel like he wouldn't be getting in Reva's way if he didn't know something, right? Yeah. But he is getting in her way, and she's having none of it. She just stabs him through the chest and disposes of him, which buys Obi-Wan and Leia exactly enough time to sneak onto the freighter, and Leia to figure out how the controls work, and she seals the door behind Obi-Wan, and they're off. And then there's Reva just standing there with her lightsaber like, I'm coming for you, Obi-Wan!
Also,
I'll get you, my pretty!
Also, not a new thought because they've been around for like almost a decade now. Inquisitor lightsabers are so fucking cool.
Oh my god, they're so fucking cool. And I love how they sit on their backs.
I didn't think that I would be a big fan of them when I first saw one.
Same. I really thought the same thing when I first saw the Inquisitors, because the Inquisitors were first a thing in Rebels.
Yes. Well, they were sort of a thing, but they were first on screen in Rebels.
First on screen in Rebels. As a guy who doesn't follow the books super closely, Rebels is the first time we saw an Inquisitor lightsaber. And I was like, what the fuck is that? That looks stupid. And then I remember playing Jedi Fallen Order and how they ignite both ends, and then by holding the middle, the outside spins around, and they just have like this fucking like circle thing of death, and they're swinging it around. I'm like, all right, this is fucking awesome. This is really fucking cool. I love Inquisitor lightsabers.
If you like them, watch Rebels. They're all over the place. The only thing is there is one dumb thing that happens in the second season of Rebels where every now and then they use them like they're helicopter blades, and they like fly to places. And
that
I'm
is
like,
dumb.
And they've never done that since. But I'm just like, I don't think that's how that works. I don't think
that's definitely
that.
not how that works. As far as I remember from I when I was a child in my parents' house, I had blueprints of a lot of Star Wars weaponry hung up on my wall. And one of them was for lightsabers. And in it, I remember reading that lightsaber blades don't have weight to them. So, like, if there's no weight, there's nothing to move the air necessarily.
Yeah, it was sort of just
there's no
like
friction. There's no lift. There's no physics words.
So the finale of that show, the finale of the second season at least, they're on like a big pyramid. So they keep using that as like an excuse to get them up to different spots.
Did aliens build these pyramids?
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
They're all aliens.
You heard it here first, folks. Aliens built the pyramids. Troy confirmed it.
I mean, again, they're all aliens. So if literally anybody builds anything in Star Wars,
the aliens built it, man.
I guess.
What are you going to do? Anyway, you were making a point before I interrupted with a shitty joke.
No, I was just saying that the lightsaber's cool. That's all.
D, if you're listening at this point, this is what happens when you're not present to keep us on track. I derail us.
I don't think we're doing that bad.
No. I just derail us. We're doing great. We're doing great.
I'm saying that because now if we are doing bad, then D will come in and scream at us.
D can suck my left nut. Anyway, so I was actually like super, I guess pleasantly surprised is what I would say with the way the plot is going in this show, because I expected it to be like, after episode 1, I was like, oh, are we going to chase Leia for like 6 episodes and he's going to have to dodge Inquisitors while doing it and returning her to Alderaan? Or like, because the trailers don't give you anything.
Yeah.
Other than Obi-Wan, Inquisitors, and eventually Darth Vader.
Which at the very end of the second episode, we kind of skipped. He figures out through Reva that Anakin actually does live.
That's right.
Which I didn't know if that was canon, if he knew or not before, but it's at least established in this. I don't know if it's a retcon or not. That here he now knows. And then Anakin wakes up in a tube of Bacta, and they connect through space. So now they both know that each other are alive, essentially.
Is that what that is?
I think that they're connecting to each other, yeah.
I don't know.
It seems like a very Star Wars thing for them to connect to each other through space and be like, ah, shit.
Kinda. But at the same time, if that was something they could do, then couldn't Anakin have found Obi-Wan on Tatooine before he showed up at the Death Star? And it wouldn't have been a surprise when he showed up at the Death Star?
I mean, you know, it's Force logic, so it's whenever they want it to be convenient.
Yeah, like when Rey and Kylo could talk to each other from planets away.
Even Empire, Luke has a whole conversation with Vader through the Force only after he figures out it's his dad. And, like, they could have used that whole thing beforehand to have Vader figure out. And
conversation is a liberal use of that word.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean.
It's like a sentence exchange.
Yeah. But
I see what you mean. Yeah. You can communicate with the Force, but I feel like
turns out Star Wars writing is
a little wonky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll allow it, but whatever. But yeah, it is Hayden Christensen in the Bacta tank, and he's just like, oh, he's awake now. I am always happy to see Vader outside the suit, because it does please me to see Vader like outside the suit, like getting Bacta treatments. And
cool imagery.
seeing his like eggshell head in episode 5 was pretty cool because I'm just like, ooh, he's an ugly ass little monster man under that mask. He's a little white nugget man. But it is always fun to see Vader outside of the suit. I'm very curious to see what they do with Vader in this because obviously Vader and Obi-Wan can't have like a showdown of sorts.
I think that there were rumors that they wanted to do at least one fight between them.
Of course, everyone wants that. I just don't know if you can do that while following episode 4. I don't know, because...
their language that they use is vague, because they did the same thing with Dooku and Anakin, where Dooku says... Anakin says something along the lines of, like, last time we fought... Like, I'm stronger now. Like, I my power doubled last time since the
last time we've met, count.
And they fight all the fucking time in Clone Wars, so you're like, oh, so, like, the last time they met was, like...
A week ago?
2 weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, when did they didn't really fight in 6, I don't think. I don't know. I don't remember all of Clone Wars.
Doesn't matter. But I'm trying to make sure that this show doesn't destroy what 4 did. Because, I'm trying to, like, the exact wording, like, Vader just says, a presence I've not felt since, and he trails off. Which I always thought was like, oh, since, like, Mustafar then.
Obi-Wan, or not Obi-Wan, George Lucas really, did a lot of legwork to not explain anything so they could eventually do the show 40 years later. 50 years later.
Great job leaving everything vague on purpose, George. We really appreciate you. No, but I just want to make sure that the previously established canon is adhered to. So far, it is. I'm just... I don't know. I always liked the idea of them like having the fight on Mustafar and then not encountering each other for fucking 30 years. I not 30 years. Is it? No, it's like 20?
It would be about 20, yeah.
Yeah, because Luke is like 1920.
Mm-hmm.
But and I'm trying to remember. I don't remember the exact conversation, but I believe after the twins are born, it's Obi-Wan, Yoda, and Bail discussing what to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they were the decision was to separate them to keep them safe from their father.
Yes.
So Obi-Wan knew Anakin was alive.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'd have to go watch that whole conversation again.
Yeah, I guess they're retconning that.
Maybe. I don't know.
Sure.
It's another thing of like maybe the wording was just off enough where they could say something.
Right. But I mean, I don't know. I definitely trust Deborah Chow to do her very best with the show.
She did a bunch of episodes of Mandalorian, right?
She did 2 episodes of Mandalorian. I actually have her IMDb page right here.
Cool.
She did Chapter 7, The Reckoning, and Chapter 3, The Sin.
Okay, 2 of the best episodes, actually.
Honestly, yeah. She also did Something Stupid for Better Call Saul, which is literally my favorite episode of the entire series so far. She did an episode of American Gods. She's done an episode of Jessica Jones. She's done episodes of Fear the Walking Dead. She's done Mr. Robot. She did Iron Fist. She's done a lot of really good shit.
Fuck. Sure.
Yeah. She's got some really fucking good shit under her belt.
I believe she's also one of the pilots in that I think it's episode 5 of Mandalorian.
Oh, really?
When all the
You're right.
pilots
Episode 6.
Mm-hmm. 6.
Sash Ketter.
Yeah, her, Dave Filoni, and Rick.
Moranis? I'm kidding.
Starts with an F. He's another director on the show, but it's 3 directors on the show. Those were all the pilots of the ships, so she's one of them.
That's awesome. I have nothing but faith in her, honestly. Because she's got a hell of a repertoire under her belt, and so far I really like what she's done with episode 1 and 2 of Obi-Wan.
Honestly, hearing what I'm hearing already, I'm almost leaning into having like more faith if it was like a Dave Filoni thing, because Dave Filoni gets a little too like fan servicey he's a Star Wars fan first and then is a director almost.
Yeah. Right.
And I think that he's great, but like there's
Favreau leans into that sometimes.
Yeah,
too.
And apparently, like, the way he got into Star Wars, they were talking about it during Celebration stuff. If the story's true, I'm always hesitant to believe anybody says in Hollywood. But sometimes I think they spin narratives, but apparently, because he's pre-Vizsla, who is like a Mandalorian, he's actually the first guy who has the Darksaber in the show.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically were like, he was basically, he there was some sort of thing that they worked on, and he was like, if you ever need an extra voice, let me know. And apparently they put him as pre-Vizsla, and then now he's in charge of the Mandalorian show.
Right.
So I think that those two are sort of just big fans of Star Wars together.
Makes sense. I'm very excited for episode 3 and 4, 5, and 6.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I wonder if they were dropped this way on purpose. 'Cause like, I don't know. 1 and 2 definitely feel like they're 2 parts of a pilot episode for this series.
Yes. I think that they did say that they moved it back and then put them together through some sort of announcement. And I'm wondering if they were looking at it and were like, oh, yeah, this first episode might not be enough.
Yeah. Oh God, I'm really excited for the rest of this show. It's looking really good. Ewan McGregor is amazing as Obi-Wan Kenobi. He was my favorite part of the prequel trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Which, despite its flaws, I still hold in high regards, at least higher than the sequels. It's man, this show is delivering on everything I wanted it to be, and I was very hesitant going into this. I was really expecting it to be bad.
It has the most stakes to mess stuff up.
Exactly, because this is the one I feel like people are most invested in, especially people our age, because like Star Wars Celebration really highlights this every year, but younger fans, especially anyone who's like a millennial or younger, is really, really appreciative and loving of the prequels. So if you revive anything from them, like they're doing here with bringing back Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor to reprise their roles, you're playing with fire, and you either deliver or you fuck it up. There's no middle ground here. And so far, I feel like they've definitely delivered. I'm curious to see what Dee's hot take is next week after we talk about episode 3, which will probably come right on the heels of our coverage of The Boys.
The
Boys! But I'm very, very hopeful for this series, and I feel like it's really going to bring me back into all the fun Jedi stuff that I've been missing out on for a while.
And then maybe, if you're all Star Wars'd up, I can finally corner you, trap you in a room, and beat you to a bloody pulp and force you to watch Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah, maybe.
Don't watch Resistance. You don't need to watch Resistance.
I'll be honest with you. I've got a hell of a backlog of TV to work on.
That's all fair.
Because the new season of Peaky Blinders comes out next month, and my wife and I love Peaky Blinders. And fiance, whatever. And Better Call Saul just had its mid-season finale. For its final season, which I fucking hate mid-season finales. You're just milking it. Just stop, please. We're all just gonna binge it as soon as it hits Netflix anyway, which is what I have to do. I have to catch up on the last season of Better Call Saul and then the new season because I don't want to encounter internet spoilers. But yeah, I'm very excited to see where Kenobi goes. I'm very, very excited to see where Obi-Wan Kenobi goes.
I have one more minor thing. Do you have anything else to shotgun off?
Not really.
How did you feel about the old vet clone trooper?
Oh yeah, that was neat. It felt weird because I mean, clones were programmed to just be bad, right?
Well, they did have a personality, and they had a chip in their head that made them do Order 66. So basically, they're normal and just functioning until they recognize that somebody's a Jedi, and then they'll just initiate. So him not knowing would have done that. But also, I think there's some lore that Bad Batch mentions that the chips do decay over time. So, and there's one in season 6 Clone Wars where his decays, and
is
his
it
goes,
Rex?
No, Rex doesn't. Rex has his removed by Ahsoka.
Okay.
Spoilers for season 7 Clone Wars. But whatchamacallit? I think that there's some people saying like even if he did know it was him at this point, he wouldn't do Order 66, maybe. But I don't know.
We'll see.
But I do like the Also, I believe it's the very first, unless the ones in the beginning were suits, I believe it's the very first actual suit that they made for Clone Trooper armor.
Yeah.
Because everything was CGI before.
I believe every clone trooper was CGI in 2 and 3. Which that's interesting. It's not the first clone trooper armor. Actually,
I think it is. I think that like they have
you
stormtrooper
might
armor.
Be right. Because I was actually watching some behind the scenes stuff on BBC One in preparation for this because I did some homework, and they were asking Ewan McGregor about the clone trooper vet, and he was like, that was my first time acting with a stormtrooper because we didn't actually have troopers in the prequels. It was just me in a green room. And I was like, oh shit, he's right, huh? Interesting. I'm trying to think back. Like, did they do anything where they like? There really hasn't 501st Legion step in?
Yeah, there really hasn't been a whole lot of like live action clone troopers since the prequels. So most of the clones have been animated.
That's a really good point. I didn't even think about that. Wow. That wasn't Tamora Morrison. That was just his voice, right?
I believe it was him. I don't know if it was actually him or edited to look like him, but I believe it was him.
Interesting. Let me see if I can find anything about that. I don't see him listed anywhere, but whatever. I can't state enough. I really can't state enough just how fucking excited I am for the rest of this fucking
live action
show.
Rex is probably gonna be fucking Ahsoka. Jesus Christ. Anyway,
dude, shut up. I'm excited. I'm really excited. I'm just super excited, man. I have not been this excited for Star Wars shit since fucking 7. 7, 8. I was excited for 8.
No Mandalorian?
Not as much, because like Mandalorian is great. It's more Star Wars content. It's really good. I look forward to it, but I really get excited for Jedi shit.
Right.
And Mandalorian is not Jedi shit.
That's fair.
Except for that one like 10-minute scene where Luke Skywalker shows up. That's about it. So yeah, I'm very excited to see the rest of this. I can't state that enough. Anything else to add, Troy?
No, I think that's pretty much it for me. I think that I want to say that I'm more, I don't want to say cautiously optimistic. 'Cause I want to say it's more positive than that, but it's in the same sort of vein, if that makes any sense.
It's fine. I'm a little cautiously optimistic as well because the first 2 episodes are really good, but Disney has a habit of fucking things up sometimes, and I hope they don't fuck this up. We'll see. We will see. Only time will tell, and join us next week when we figure it out with episode 3. That was a great end, huh? Man, I'm good at this job.
Well, now you ruined it.
If you liked what you heard, please leave us a kind review on your favorite podcasting platform. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a 5-star rating. All the good shit. Be nice to us, please. We're just a couple of...
We beg of you.
We beg of you. We're just a couple of little kids trying to feed our family on Tatooine with a quarter portion. Please.
You only got a quarter portion?
You guys are getting portions? All right, that's it. Goodbye. Hello there.